This is Malachi Church First Estate. You know, with the way things are going there, it seems like our constitutional rights, and the Bill of Rights, and all the things that we as people were supposed to have as protection against governments that are totally out of control, people that are in office that are totally out of control, people that just think they're little dictators, right? It's all being thrown in the garbage. Your rights are being thrown away. You don't mean nothing. They mean everything. They hold power. You voted for them. They get on a power trip. Some of them are voted for. Some of them are appointed, So, so how do we fix this? How do we really fix this? Well, I'm going to give you two ways. One is you can do what I started to do many, many years ago. 20 years ago, actually. Well, not quite 20 years. Maybe 17 years ago, 18 years ago. I had an old 1904 turn-of-the-century craftsman style home. I wanted to build a garage. I wanted this garage to reflect the style and architecture of my home. I did not want to attach it to my home because then it would take away from the style and architecture of my home, which my home was actually built by one of the owners of Weyerhaeuser. So it had some sort of, historical value content to it. So by building a garage and attaching it under the city ordinance of what they wanted, it would take all that stuff away. And I said, no way. I want to build a garage self-standing up, but I want it to look like my house. They didn't want to do anything. So guess what I did? I ran for mayor. See? It's an old sign. And it says Glenn Cogshow. Of course, that's my real name. I go by Malachi when I'm doing things of being a messenger. Anyways. So I ran for office. And guess what? I got a waiver. Guess what? I started meeting people. Guess what? I started, being able to just talk to regular people, raising my stature. People all of a sudden finally went, well, who's this guy? And now that gave me an opportunity to share a message with people. Oftentimes I share the gospel with people if you know me for more than 5 minutes. Okay? That's how I am. That's who I am. So I was able to do that. And then the following year, the Republicans, they called me and they wanted me to run for state senate. So I did. Heavily Democrat area. Our area is so entangled by Democrats, it's pathetic. But I ran so he wasn't unopposed. And of course, because of that, it got me more notoriety, got me more connections. Because with fame comes connections. And I've known a lot of famous people. Dealt with the Hendrix world, which I'm going to tie into this conversation here too. So, and of course then the next year I ran for U.S. House of Representatives for a 2nd Congressional District in the state of Washington, which is held by Rick Larson still to this day. And he's been in there for like 20 years. The guy's a total moron and idiot. But that's the problem, absolute power, because they are in there. There's no term limits. I was big on term limits. I'm an easy guy to look up and try to see what I stood for. And I still stand for the same things, even 20 years later. So, and they also stand for the same thing. They're still scumbags and they're still control freaks and they still want to destroy and throw your rights under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, into the fire. So the first way to try to fix things is you run for office. So what's the second way to fix things? Let me tell you. You get baptized. Once you're baptized, you're born again. Now who has power over you? It's not the state anymore. Well, the state claims power over you because it's made you a corporation. Under Admiralty law, that's why when you go into court, you see the gold fringe around the flag, because it's not really the American flag, because the American flag under the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, shall not be infringed. But that flag is infringed. That means when you walk in there, you really don't have the power as a free man, and you don't have the power granted to you by the U.S. Constitution, Bill of Rights. However, if you're born again and baptized, if you're baptized and born again, goes in that order, you are now no longer under control of the state. And therefore, the maritime law does not apply to you because now you're born again. You come out of the water and now you're through the vessel of God. You're a new vessel. I don't know if any of you remember some of the conversations within the Bible talking about an aspect of a vessel. Maybe we should start putting two and two together. Why was John the Baptist baptizing people in the Roman Empire days? Because that's when Admiralty law started. Why did Pontius Pilate wash his hands? Because his hands had to be baptized. Because he wasn't the one really doing the deed. He wasn't the one laying judgment. It was Pharisees that were laying the judgment. Now, who are the ones that are controlling our system now? They are part of the Pharisees. Still the same people. Sons of Cain, all of them. They're all Canaanites. Canaanites, you can find them very quickly. They can't grow nothing. You go in their house, they don't have plants. If they do, they're probably plastic. If they're not plastic, I guarantee somebody's coming in and taking care of their plants for them. If they own a farm, somebody else is farming for them. It's always somebody else. So these Canaanites are usually managers, they're usually bankers, they're usually lawyers and politicians because they utilize other people to gain money and power, because for themselves to do something on their own, they're worthless. It's a curse from way back in the garden. So, but here's one thing that Canaanites know, and here's one thing the Pharisees know. Just as they tried to enslave, not enslave Christ, but try to get him on certain things, they would say, you were working Sunday. You worked on Sunday. And then they'd want to bring him up to the council. And so Christ asked, they said, who gives you this authority to work on Sunday? They were asking Jesus. Jesus said, well, who gave John the Baptist his authority? And they kind of, hemmed and hawed and went away. Because here's the thing. Even the Pharisees of today, even those scumbags that are in, these Canaanites, that are in power, and, a lot of people that follow along with them. They're not all Canaanites, but a lot of stupid people that follow them because they're followers. They all know that John the Baptist had the authority, even back then. So therefore, they know John the Baptist still has the authority to this day. So you go into a courtroom and it has an infringement around the flag. Let's say someone was trying to come and take your gun, which is granted to you by the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights, or somebody trying to tell you you have to make a cake for some fag or something, and hauls you in the court system. You need to first and foremost set a boundary and let them know, first and foremost, out of your mouth, you have been baptized and you are born again. You are now ownership of God. You get what I'm saying? You have to let them know what the issue is. Just like in a court case, that's the first thing you're talking about. Is why you're bringing a case against somebody, or somebody's bringing a case against you. It's stated right there in the beginning. So you need to state right there in the beginning that you were baptized and born again and you're a child of God. And so only his laws apply to you. And any other laws that are to apply to you from their position cannot be under maritime laws, but they have to be under the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, because those were the ones that were given. These were inalienable rights given by our Creator that our country was based on. That's how it works. So you ask yourself, how do I get around the system? I see people all the time, they talk about, I'm going to be a free man. You're never going to be a free man unless you do it the right way. There was a reason, like I'm saying, there's a reason why John the Baptist was doing it when he was doing it. It was the Roman Empire days. It was the establishment of maritime law. It was establishment, again, of a tax system, just like it was back in Egypt, just like when Moses came. Moses, his name means drawn from the water. What is that? That's a form of baptism. So who had the authority over the Israelites during that time? It was Moses, because he was the one that was, through him, they were baptized under him. You get what I'm saying? One day I'll have somebody that actually knows law and somebody that actually knows their word as well as I do. I don't say that to be kind of snobby, but to be honest with you, it's very concerning to me that there are so many people out there that really don't know much. I mean, it's good that the meek shall inherit the earth. Give me a break. The more you know, the more issues. It's like the more money, the more problems. You know that whole thing. And it's true. I've had a lot of money. I've had a lot of problems. So, but I don't know, people. Look, I'm just here trying to help. Everything that I say, I can back up scripturally, not just in one place, in many places. And everything that I say, I think, makes perfect sense if you really sit down and think about it, going, well, okay, well, it's like I was talking to my dad the other day, a little bit about this. And he said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, okay, how about this? When you joined the Navy, because he's Navy, you signed a piece of paper. So at that signing of that piece of paper, the ownership that you were was a corporation with DC or however they do it. I don't really care. That was then handed over to the Navy. Then the Navy had power and all control over you, meaning you had to go through their MP. So if you got in trouble down the road because you drank too much and you got in a fist fight, the MPs would come and get you, because you would then go to their court system. You'd have to go to their court system and have their lawyers and utilize their system of law to then make your case or free your case or do whatever it was with your case. Okay, the same thing applies when you were baptized and you're born again. Now you deal in God's courtroom under God's laws, and that's how it's done. This is how they got Christ with the Pharisees, because now Pontius Pilate, he washed his hands, baptized his hands. Now he gave them back to them. Now it's under your laws. You get what I'm saying? This is why pedophile Catholic priests can, screw little boys and nothing ever happens. Because they are owned by the Vatican. They have to go into the Vatican system. The Vatican has control and power over them. Let me tell you something. In this world, unless you proclaim power, you have no power. But to also say that you only have power based on yourself is not going to fly in this world. But if you tell somebody and truly believe it and understand what you're talking about, that you've been baptized and born again, and you make that clear in a setting such as a courtroom and dealing with a judge, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a little different outcome than what you thought. First of all, you can't hire a lawyer, though. So you got to be very careful on how you get into that system. Now, I'm telling you what. If you went to a judge and you told that judge right away, one of the first things in response to whatever they were trying to bring on you, meaning whatever issue they had with you, and you said, hey, I'm baptized and born again. It's not that these laws don't apply, but I can't be tried in this system, in this courtroom, because you don't have authority over me. Get what I'm saying? Anyways, let me share a little bit of Hendrix if you're still here. And this goes with this overreaching of law, especially now with this e-juice vape stuff. 3 years ago, I signed a contract with a company that I was supposed to get, guaranteed $250,000 a year on a 3-year contract. It was a 3-year contract. And that totally flopped. Leon Hendricks is Jimmy's brother, and we're buddies. We've been buddies now for 20-some years. So that deal flopped because they got the voodoo. And we call it the voodoo. And people get involved in these business deals, and then they have delusions of grandeur. Just like some of our politicians get delusions of grandeur. They get in office and they're unchecked, and then they do what they do, and then they start saying, oh, this is banned and this is banned, and we're going to raise your taxes here, we're going to raise your taxes there. Maybe I should make this another video on this. But then this year we had another company that wanted to do an Aegis line with us. I'll put the pictures up. And they had delusions of grandeur too, because I said, well, let's do it. Let's get it done. I'll give you the pictures. Let's get this moving. The him-hawing around. Oh, we're going to have to hire more people. Oh, we think this is going to be huge. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to do this. Now Aegis is banned. So we just lost another I'm pretty sure we'd have done $500,000 in business within this time frame since January until now. Minimum. So therefore, between me and Leon, I lost $200,000 and Leon's lost $300,000. So I mean, it's just it's pretty pathetic when we allow people that really have no authority to have authority. You know what I mean? Anyways, this is Malachi signing out. Cheers for stay. Hug your kids. Call your parents. Go see your neighbor. Repent and be baptized.